Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I am going to explain you about Java 14 new features at a glance. We are going to the overview of what are all new features and what is the advantage of each feature. We will see quickly. The first one is a switch expression. Switch has been enhanced and implemented expressions. It's similar to like a lambda expressions. The notation resembles same, and using switch expression you can write a better code. We'll see example. This is a JDK 7 example where how we write the switch cases. Like each switch will take the input and there are multiple cases, and inside each case has only one label, and after colon we'll write the logic and we'll keep a break. This is how we write the switch, and finally we'll keep the default. Default is optional, and there are limitations with this. Is it doesn't return any value, like each case it doesn't return. So from the switch we cannot expect any outcome. If you want output, or if you want to return some value, you have to capture that value from the cases and you can return later. And you cannot keep comma separated labels, something like this. Each case handles only one label, and break is mandatory. These are the limitations. And let me go to the JDK 14 switch expression. This is how we write switch expression. Switch expressions can return a value, and so in each case if you want to return a value directly you can keep like this, and the notation is this one to write a switch expressions, and default is mandatory to return a value. And one more thing, if you want to write a multi-line switch case, like each case, then you have to keep inside a braces and whatever you can write, and to return a value, instead of return keyword you need to yield the value, return value. So you have to use the yield keyword. This is how we write the switch expression in Java 14. And switch is a backward compatible feature. So if you want to go for legacy or classic way, you can go for a switch statement, or if you want to use the advanced expressions you can use both. That is about the switch expression. Coming to the text blocks, if you want to write a single line you can use a simple string literals, and if you want to go for multi lines, like if you are writing a lot of strings, for example email statement, you are creating email body, or if you are writing some JSON object, or if you are writing SQL queries, then you can go for text blocks. Let me give you some example. Let's say this is a small email body. There I have written hello, welcome to Java Beam and regards Java Beam. This is how email body. So email body, there are multiple lines, but in normal string literal this is how clumsy it is. There are so many restrictions, we cannot keep special characters. If you want to keep, you have to escape, and each line you need to be ended with /n so that it is recognized as a new line. But see, this is how I am writing text blocks. So text blocks we have to keep inside a triple double quote. Whatever the text you keep inside a triple double quote is treated as a text block, and it applies the special rules. So you can write like this. You can keep, if you want any double quotes or any special characters without any escaping sequences. We don't need to keep escaping sequence like this. Without like this it will work perfectly. And we don't need to keep new line character. Each line is treated as a new line and it will be printed in new line. Let me run this example and you will see the output. And even you can pass the dynamic data. Here I passed dynamic data some here, and let me pass one more here. So in the formatted method you can pass the dynamic data, something like this. You can pass the dynamic data. So this is the dynamic data is replaced in text blocks, and text blocks are similar to normal string. These are not like a new data type. This is a extension to the string, where this is the alternate way or new way to write a multi-line strings. So this is very useful when you are going for SQLs or JSON or email statements. Yeah. And dynamic data can be passed using the formatted method and comma separated strings or whatever dynamic data you can pass. To represent strings we have to use the percentages, and for float and other there are other keys you have to use. This is how we write the text blocks. And coming to the next, records. Records is to create a immutable data we use the records keyword. Similar to something like if you want to create a constants we use enums. So similar way we can use the record keyword to create a record, to create a immutable object. Let's say I want to maintain username and password as an immutable object in a user object. In normal Java, if you want to write, you need to write a POSO class where you write getter methods and constructor, and you have to implement equals, hash code, all these things you have to do. But record is a simple. Let me give you example. Yeah. See, let me show you one example. Yeah, this is how we write a record in Java. So we have to use the record keyword, and this is the record name or class name. Whatever data you want to use inside a record as an immutable object you can pass. All these fields are by default final, and even the record class is also final. And you no need to implement constructor, you no need to write constructor, and you no need to write equals hash code. All things will be taken care by Java compiler. When you compile this code, Java compiler will create all this by default for us, and even it will implement hash code and equals. See, I have created two records. So whatever the data we are passing is similar to other class creation or object creation, same thing we pass in a record. So this will be passed to a constructor and the value will be stored here. And to read the data we can use some method signature like a variable name, and this how. So internally Java compiler creates these methods for us to read the data, and there won't be any setter methods because these are like treat as immutable object. And these fields whatever you are giving inside a record are by default final. This will be useful to carry the immutable object instead of writing a normal. It is a tedious work. And coming to the pattern matching for instance of operator, let's see one example quickly. Yeah, in existed way, in classic way we write instance of operator like this. Let's say I have one object and I want to check the type of object. So here I am trying to check whether it is a string or not. So I use the instance of keyword. If it is true, if it is instance or it is instance of type string, then this code goes inside, control goes inside this block. There I want to use that object. To make use of that object, first I need to typecast that object to that particular type. This is unnecessary thing because we already know that this object is of type string here. Then again why we need to typecast this object? Because the typecasted object is not directly available. So in Java 14, Java came up with a new approach like a pattern matching for instance of operator, where after pattern matching, like it Java now know that this instance of is of type string, then the object will be converted to string and will be stored in string reference, whatever the reference you are giving here. Let's say I am giving reference A, the object will be stored in A of typecasted one. That object I can directly use inside the block. So the scope of this reference is inside this block. From here, wherever you can use this block, something like this. Yeah. And the advantage is you no need to do the typecasting explicitly. This is unnecessary step now, because Java directly giving the typecasted object, and the typecasted object I can use for my logic implementation. So this is how we implement the pattern matching for instance of operator. This is also a preview feature in Java 14. And helpful null pointer exception, this is also a preview feature. Let me show you. See, here is one object, and from that object I am calling the get user method. From that get user I am calling, there is a user class, so from user I am calling get employee, and it return employee object. On top of the employee object I am calling the h1 method, h high method. So previously it is very difficult to know where the exact null pointer is throwing, because it was not giving the pinpoint. It was giving something like at line number 10 there is an exception. But in Java, here we can see null pointer exception, how it is giving the more readability. It is saying exception in thread main java.lang.null pointer exception cannot invoke this get emp method because the return value of get user is null. It is saying get user is null, it is returning null. That's the reason it is getting null pointer exception. When you are calling get emp method on this object, you are getting null pointer. So it is pinpointing where the exact problem is. So it is like improving the readability, so that developer no need to worry about this. He can easily identify where the exactly exception is. In previous releases, the null pointer exception is a very like a common exception, but it is very difficult to find where exactly it is occurring. With this preview feature, it is a good enhancement. With this we can identify exception easily. Coming to the next, foreign memory access API. So this is when you are writing a classes, the classes or the objects uses Java heap memory to allocate the memory by JVM, but you can write a program using the provided API, so that your program can access foreign memory outside of heap. That is the one enhancement has been done. It is an incubator feature. This API can be used from jdk.incubator.foreign module or package. From that package you can access the API, and you can write a program to access memory outside of heap. That is called foreign memory. Yeah, packaging tool. Yeah, here it is very good tool. Let's say I want to install my Java application into Windows machine or Linux or Mac OS. How can I do? There is no direct option as of now. First we need to have a Java installed in client machine, then only we can install our software. Like Java we deal with classes, Java files and jar files. but these jars are not understood by the operating systems. Like Windows doesn't understand the jar file, it can understand only MSI file or exe file, and same way Mac can understand PKG or DMG file. So packaging tool provide a way, or it is giving the command line utility jpackage. By using the jpackage, we can create a exe file for Windows from the jar file. From executable jar, we can create a exe file so that our application can be installed inside Windows. If you want more details how exactly we can use a packaging tool and how you can create exe file from a jar and even how to create a jar, you can watch my previous videos. It will be clear examples I have given with the working code. Coming to the next feature, NUMA aware memory allocation for garbage collector, G1 garbage collector. This is enhancements to the NUMA aware memory allocation for G1. This is improve the performance for larger machines. And JFR event streaming. What exactly JFR is? Java Flight Recorder. It is a diagnostic tool like a profiling. Let's say if you want to enhance how much memory it is used or how much time it is taking, you can use JFR event streaming. Like it is JDK Flight Recorder, so it records or it stores all the data. Like it extracts all the information or all the events and dumps into a physical memory, and from the physical memory we will use the analyzing profiling tool to analyze those, like for debugging purpose, for analyzing that memory allocations and time allocation, how much time taken. Now using this JFR event streaming, we no need to dump all the data into physical and we need to go for physical disk to analyze. Instead of that, in real time we can analyze the events using the event streaming process. So we can save that time at that moment itself. We can see how the performance is using the event streaming. Next, non-volatile mapped byte buffers. This is also enhancement. It improved the file channel API to create mapped byte buffer. JetGC on Windows. Jet garbage collector was introduced in Linux and now it is ported to Windows and as well as to Mac OS. So Jet garbage collector is available in Linux, Windows and Macs, all operating systems we can say. And there are few deprecated APIs from Java 14. One is parallel scavenge and serial world GC combination. This has been deprecated, so this is marked as deprecated so that it will be removed in future releases. And also one more API, Solaris and Spark ports. This also been deprecated. These are removed APIs. These APIs has been marked as deprecated in previous releases and now it has been officially removed. This is one is CMS concurrent mark and sweep garbage collector algorithm. So this is being removed and this is replaced with new JetGC garbage collectors. And Pack21 tool, this also been deprecated from Java util.jar package. Yeah, that's all about Java JDK 14 new features at glance. Thanks for watching and please do subscribe my channel.